After I pretty much saved the future of Tony Stark, I also secretly gave him another gift, the powers of absolute devotion and attraction, and this type of power, absolute devotion and attraction, only works if women are already sexually attracted to you or if they are already in love with you. I did this to help Tony Stark be with Pepper Potts in a romantic relationship a lot faster, so his daughter Morgan will be born a lot faster, and I always wanted to see Tony Stark in a polygamous marriage, so I gave him the powers of absolute devotion and attraction. I also have the powers of absolute devotion and attraction, except my powers are the powers of a true sex god. You see, after I drank the blood of the sex god Desire, I gained all his abilities, and I didn't kill him. Instead, I did him a favor. I turned him into a vampire like me, and after I helped Tony Stark with everything, me and my wives went and decided to buy a home. But before all that, I was approached by Natasha Romanoff in Los Angeles. She actually walked right up to me and started talking to me and even flirting with me, and I knew immediately she is really sexually attracted to me romantically. She wants me, so my powers of absolute devotion and attraction started working immediately, and before we knew it, she was in our hotel room and she was now giving me oral pleasure, and I moaned loudly, and then I came in her mouth and she moaned and giggled cutely, and then she said loudly, "Oh God, that tasted so good," and then she quickly got on top of me, and Natasha Romanoff aka Black Widow started riding my member ravenously in the cowgirl position, and she continued moaning loudly and making lustful sounds, and I continued from the cowgirl position into the missionary position, and then I switched to the big dripper doggy style position, and I screwed her in both of her naughty holes, and I switched to the side sex position, and then finally back to the cowgirl position, and then I finally came inside Black Widow's vagina, and I definitely decided to get her pregnant, and after all that I continued having sex with her for as long as she wanted, and Natasha Romanoff loved every second of having sex with me, and she fell asleep in my arms smiling, and she slept with me for 2 days, and right after Natasha Romanoff woke up, Natasha had sex with me again in the early morning, and me and the very young Scarlett Johansson look-alike Natasha Romanoff both had incredible multiple orgasms, and then finally she and I got dressed again, and I kissed her passionately on the lips, and I moaned and said I didn't want this to end, and then she kissed me back passionately, and she said, "Me too, I've never had sex like this before. I mean, it's never been this spontaneous, and it's never felt that good." And then I said, "You just never met the right man, that's all, Natasha Romanoff." And then she kissed me passionately again, and she said, "I don't want to stop, but I need to tell you something." And then Natasha Romanoff began to tell me why she approached me. To begin with, she said that Nick Fury wants to recruit me and my wives into S.H.I.E.L.D., and I interrupted her and I said, "Me and my wives accept, and I'm sure you want us to meet Nick Fury somewhere, correct, Natasha?" And then she said, "Yes, follow me, Charlie." And then she turned around and began walking, and I spanked her big beautiful butt, and she moaned and grinned pervertedly, and she said, "When we are done talking to Nick Fury, you and I are coming back here to have sex again." And then I said, "Yes ma'am, whatever you want, darling." And then Natasha Romanoff smiled like a pervert and she said, "Whatever I want, I like the sound of that. I'll be sure to take you up on that offer," she said seductively, and me and my wives along with Natasha Romanoff, we all went to see Nick Fury, and we all agreed to join his little group S.H.I.E.L.D., but I mostly agreed because I want to destroy Hydra from within and convert them to our side using my mind control abilities to make Hydra do whatever I want, and also intend to use my mind control abilities on Wenwu and Aldridge Killian, because I don't want Wenwu to be Shang-Chi's father because he doesn't deserve the mother of Shang-Chi, but I do, and luckily for me this is the perfect time for me to meet Shang-Chi's mother, and I can become the father of Shang-Chi and his sister. So I teleported in front of Wenwu and I used my mind control to make him give me his 10 rings, and then I killed Wenwu and I took over his little gang of misfits by using my mind control abilities on them to make them all do whatever I wanted, and I used them all to do good in the world, and they no longer did evil things anymore. And then I decided to go confront Shang-Chi's mother near Ta Lo, and instead of me fighting her I talked to her peacefully and I got to know her, and I told her that I can save her and her people from the demons behind the black door, but she will need to trust me. And then I showed her my godlike powers and I gave her my 10 rings for now, and then she and I went to Ta Lo.